Kia ora, good evening. I'm Dave Gooselink. Cuts to the new Dunedin Hospital may soon be reduced, with the National Party announcing a plan to reverse them if they're elected. Christopher Luxon made the trip down south last week, proposing a multi-million-dollar boost towards keeping the hospital at a standard he feels is needed for the region.
The site of the new Dunedin Hospital, 4 years into the development. National Party leader Christopher Luxon made a visit to Dunedin on Friday morning, announcing a multi-million-dollar plan to reduce cuts made to the hospital in December. He feels it's a critical piece of infrastructure for the southern region, stating National are dedicated to creating the proper medical facility needed in the area.
It was actually a national government that actually made a very big commitment here in Dunedin to build the Dunedin Hospital, with a vision of building a world-class facility that actually services the south of the South Island.
They plan on bringing back promised beds, operating theatres and PET scanners if elected later this year, following the major cuts made while Labour's been in power.
What I want to announce today is that the National Party is going to build this hospital, but importantly, we're going to build this hospital back to the specification that it was originally intended, in terms of giving us the capacity that we need and that we will need for the future with the generations to come.
Dunedin List MP Michael Woodhouse says the level of cuts to the hospital development were unacceptable after going below the bare minimum of beds in the 2021 plan. However, National hasn't committed to reversing all $80 million worth of the cuts. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The future of a contentious cycleway in Christchurch is one step closer to being resolved this week. Its unsanctioned installation on a busy central city thoroughfare ignited heated debate, dividing opinion between motorists and cyclists.
Results from a public survey on the future of a controversial cycleway in Christchurch's central city have just been released. The 350-metre-long cycleway along Park Terrace caused an uproar when it was installed in May. The temporary cycleway was never formally approved by councillors, with the Mayor and some councillors saying they felt blindsided by the change.
The issue for me on this is not that no elected member knew anything about these works. The issue is that no elected member was able to do anything about them. My preference would have very much been to explore widening the shared pathway along Park Terrace to accommodate cyclists in a designated only cycle lane.
More than 4,100 submissions were received by the Christchurch City Council on the issue. Final results reveal 73% of drivers and 71% of motorcyclists believe the changes have made driving down Park Terrace worse. However, 88% of cyclists thought the temporary cycleway made things better, while pedestrians and scooter users also reported a significant improvement to their journeys. The Waipapa Papanui Inner's Central Community Board will meet on Wednesday to consider the results of the survey and the situation.
The report we're receiving is extremely detailed, providing all the background to the project, a full breakdown and analysis of the survey results, and the data on all the traffic monitoring.
The Community Board's recommendation, along with the survey, will then have to be considered by City Councillors before a final decision is made on the cycleway's future. In Christchurch, the South Today.
The University of Otago has decided to proceed with a controversial rebrand, including a new logo, with the University Council voting unanimously in favour earlier this week.
It's the first time in 154 years that the University of Otago is making substantial changes to its branding. A new te reo Māori name will be introduced, Otago Whakaiihu Waka, along with this new modern logo with two different versions to be used as appropriate.
It emphasises the importance of relationships, reciprocity and the transmission of knowledge between generations.
The proposed changes were revealed in March and sparked some controversy, coming at a time when the university was facing a $60 million deficit. The council says more than 9,000 staff, students and alumni were consulted on the proposal.
Almost 3/4 of those surveyed by the university supported the proposed brand as reflecting the university's future direction.
However, the coat of arms would continue to be used in ceremonial settings and in some international marketing. The university claims the rebrand will cost just $1.3 million, although critics believe the final figure will be higher. The changes are being delayed until May next year, with the new branding being rolled out over the next 2 financial years. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Central Otago Fire and Emergency Services were in high spirits last weekend, celebrating a momentous occasion for the region as they unveiled their new home in Alexandra. The Dunstan Fire Station opened its doors on last Saturday, partly made possible with the help of the Regional Council.
Big rounds of applause as attendees celebrate the marking of the town's brand new fire station. Internal Affairs Minister Barbara Edmonds had the honours of officially opening the station, dedicated to the Dunstan Volunteer Fire Brigade. The impressive structure holds a price tag of around $3 million, with the Central Otago District Council contributing around $340,000 towards the new facility.
You can really see that the team are really proud of their location, they're proud of their new building, and it's really warm.
The brigade has played a vital role in protecting the community from danger since it was first formed in 1998, attending an average of 51 incidents a year. The new station's fully equipped with a range of new additions, including 4 truck bays, showers, kitchen and a training room.
When you compare a new station to the old, it really is a palace. It's the only way you can describe it. It really is.
The new Dunstan Fire Station will hope to continue keeping the community safe, responding to rural incidents across the Otago region. In Alexandra, the South Today.
Patient service laboratories across the South Island took part in a 2-day staged strike this week, with many lab workers and staff who take blood tests feeling undervalued. Staff from Awanui Labs took their pickets to the streets of Dunedin and Invercargill, protesting what they say is chronic underpayment.
Braving the cold and wind to picket for better pay. Staff from Invercargill's Awanui Labs, which processes blood tests and other laboratory services, were striking on Wednesday. Workers are angry and upset and believe they're being hugely undervalued. One employee with over 20 years' experience in the role says she's earning just $24 an hour, while another with a science qualification says she's on the same wage as her teenage son, who works in a supermarket.
They have spent $23 million rebranding us to Awanui, and last year they gave $43 million to their investors, but yet they don't have anything that they can give us. And so that's what we're here for today, is we really just felt like we've been punched in the gut with all of that.
Becoming a phlebotomist who collect blood samples from patients requires specialised qualifications, and the public-facing nature of their work often exposes them to mentally and physically demanding circumstances, like sickness and aggression. Apex unions say a 23.5% wage claim is the minimum required to match similar qualified roles in the health sector.
Oh, the wages are disgusting. They always have been, but as the cost of living's gone up, ours have gone down. It's really bad.
It has to be acknowledged that this company, which is privately owned, is not actually looking after their staff.
The strike's part of action happening across the country this week, with no pay offer so far from Awanui Labs to phlebotomists or lab workers. Further strike action is planned later in July if the union's bargaining remains unsuccessful. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Thank you.
FI Akene still to come on Southern Newsweek. The Swiss football team touches down in Dunedin ahead of the FIFA Women's World Cup, and brave swimmers battle the elements in St Bathans as the National Open Ice Water Champs comes to a close. Welcome back. The Swiss football team touched down in Dunedin this week as the FIFA Women's World Cup prepares for kick-off.
After flying more than 30 hours, the team arrived in Dunedin late on Tuesday. It's the city Switzerland football chose as their home base for the duration of the tournament. While the players were tired from their long journey, they say they're super pumped to get the World Cup competition underway. The Switzerland women's football team will be using Tahuna Park as their training ground in the city. Contractors have been upgrading the turf and grandstand, installing new lights, refurbishing the changing rooms and refreshing the pitch outlines on the field. Excitement is building in Switzerland for the start of the tournament, with the women's team set to play their first match against the Philippines next Friday night. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Some brave swimmers refuse to let freezing temperatures hinder their ambitions as they hit the chilly waters in remote central Otago recently. The New Zealand National Open Ice Water Champs wrapped up earlier this week after 4 days of bone-chilling action in St Bathans.
Swimming through the cold waters of the Blue Lake. This group of ice swimmers weren't shrinking from a daunting challenge. Around 40 participants took on the icy challenge at the New Zealand National Open Water Champs, using the sunny weather to their advantage as they showcased true determination and resilience. It's just the second time New Zealand has hosted the swimming competition, with organisers impressed with the performances.
The swimmers have been phenomenal on their courage and their perseverance to get to that end. There have been some that have just given every single last ounce of energy.
On Monday, one female competitor had to be airlifted to Dunedin Hospital in a serious condition after she was seen struggling in the icy water. Race organisers say the woman was discharged from hospital later that day and was feeling well. However, Wanaka's Camille Gullick, Fiona Fairbairn and Rachel Armstrong were among several people to complete the 1,600 metre ice mile, well regarded as the pinnacle of ice water endurance.
The last 300 metres was, I think they were going to pull me out. And I was like doing a bit of breaststroke. I was like, no, I'm fine. And they were like, okay, keep going.
Vocal cheers from supporters helped encourage the swimmers as they pushed their limits to the extreme in the water.
Hearing them saying, you're looking good, keep going, that kind of inspired me a bit more of like, maybe I'm not as bad as I feel right now.
Organisers say the event's not just about swimmers seeking personal triumphs, but also bringing together a tight-knit community with a chance for people to support one another. In St Bathans, the South Today.
And thousands of Cantabrians braved some cold winter nights over the last week as they explored a range of Māori stories being told through light and sound. The annual week-long Tirama Mai festival launched last Friday, showcasing a series of interactive, colourful lighting displays with a local twist.
Dazzling displays of colour, lighting up a chilly Christchurch winter night. The city's week-long Tirama Mai Lighting Festival is set to open in Victoria Square, exploring Matariki and Ngaitahu narratives, told through light and sound from a range of different displays.
It's special because it shows my culture, it shows other people from away from here, Aotearoa, that this is how we embrace our culture and Matariki.
The free annual event is expected to bring thousands of Cantabrians out to brave the cold. The centrepiece of the Maori New Year celebration will be this 21-metre-long illuminated tunnel. This is the third year running for the festival, making the move to Victoria Square as they continue to adapt and enhance the event.
We decided to evolve and play on the dark spaces more this year, especially with the number of artworks that really illuminate with the dark. So we thought, well, let's stay in the city centre, support local businesses, but also just bring it across a bit further.
Blackmore says they've collaborated with local artists and designers to create their interactive personal pieces.
Every year we've grown and developed, reintroducing pieces from previous years, but also growing and developing it by creating new artworks that we can bring in each year and evolve it again.
Tirama Mai kicks off on Friday, with the immersive lighting displays running every night until next weekend. In Christchurch, the South Today.
Is it magic or is it science? Young Dunedin people had a day filled with mystery and excitement over the weekend, taking part in a mesmerising chemistry show. It was part of the New Zealand International Science Festival, which featured more than 90 events last week, captivating children with the wonders of science.
Young minds exploring the mysteries of chemistry. This science show is inspiring the next generation of innovators. Around 300 people gathered at the Otago University Lecture Theatre on Sunday to witness a stunning array of cool nitrogen gas, colourful flames and controlled explosions. The show is prepared by the university's chemistry outreach team, who go around schools in the city hoping to spark curiosity and attract children to the subject.
We do a lot of things we call hooks, which are things that make people go, ooh, and just to get kids' interest. So really all we've seen today is all the things we would do normally when we go into a school as the first point of contact, if you like.
Children and adults alike were left spellbound, witnessing the magic of science unfolding before them. Dr. Warren's hoping these eye-catching displays will foster a love for science and have a positive effect on future generations.
Once you can do it, there's all sorts of cool things you can do, and then that spills over into research and a career in science, I suppose, as well.
The show was one of the last events as part of the New Zealand International Science Festival. Organisers happy with the response and turnout across the city this year. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Well, Invercargill was full of squawking birds last weekend for a feather-filled pageant. The region's annual poultry and pigeon show grabbed Southland by the talons, showcasing hundreds of the finest farm birds.
Beauty is in the eye of the bird holder at what is essentially a pageant for chooks. The annual poultry and pigeon show took place in Invercargill over the weekend, drawing 50 exhibitors and over 600 birds. The show's been running for over 100 years and features chooks and ducks, pigeons and even turkeys.
We have fun, we love it. I mean, they're a cheap hobby to have, and you get the eggs and meat. You know, a lot of us, the big heavy breeds, we keep them for meat as well.
With 9 different categories, the birds are judged on their body type, their colour and their feathering. Some of the less common breeds on show include Polish, Houdans, Japanese and North Holland Blues.
A lot of people are realising that these birds are heritage breeds. If they die out, we can't get them because we cannot import poultry or eggs into the country.
David Service started pigeon racing at age 13, but when it became too political, he moved away from that, and now he's been poultry showing for 56 years. He's been impressed by the turnout and the quality of birds this year, but he's disappointed there were no entries from any kids.
It'd be nice to see more young ones coming through. We get the odd one, comes and goes, but we could do with a lot more younger members.
There's 21 poultry shows run across the country from May to July. So for these birds, it'll either be back to the coop or onto the chopping block as the season draws to a close. In Invercargill, the South Today.
Whai Akine still to come on Southern Newsweek. Kiribati communities across the South celebrated their culture this week through a range of events. And twin siblings from rural Otago triumphed at the Young Farmer of the Year competition. Welcome back. It was a special week for communities representing one of the smallest of the Pacific Islands, celebrating their vibrant culture and history. The Republic of Kiribati may have a population of just over 200,000 people, but their passion for their culture is much bigger in size.
A colourful display of cultural dance and song, celebrating the start of this year's Kiribati Language Week. Maureen Lafita is proud to be from Kiribati. She's one of just 2 Kiribati people now living in Alexandra and helping celebrate the week-long event. She says life in the central Otago town is vastly different to on the islands, but is committed to preserving the Tungaru culture despite being far away from home. For Lafita, there's a couple of reasons why the celebration of a language is such an important event in the year.
To be able to move forward for me, knowing who I am, so I can just kind of know who I am, but I can still fit in with the diversity of what is, New Zealand had to offer, really.
In Timaru, dozens of Kiribati people gathered to celebrate their language, showcasing the vibrant colours of their cultural identity. Lafita admits there's fewer community members in Alexandra, but says she'll do what she can to stay connected to her roots.
I dance when I can at home. I play the song, and I enjoy making, choreographing the Kiribati movement, so I do that in my own time.
She says Kiribati Language Week is giving her the rare opportunity to speak her native tongue and emphasising the importance of keeping her cultural identity alive. In Alexandra, the South Today.
It's been a long time coming for 2 rural Otago teenagers who claimed the top prize at the Young Farmer of the Year competition. Zoe and Miller McElray have been competing in the event for the last 6 years, using their twin bond to their advantage.
The future of New Zealand agriculture, getting stuck in to some work on the farm. And Milton teenagers Zoe and Miller McElray have proven that hard work pays off. The pair jointly won the top prize at this year's Junior Young Farmer of the Year competition. The twins used their combined brain power to win the national grand final, which they've been competing in since they were 12 years old.
I think between the two of us, we've run the regional final for 6 years now.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So, taking it on, but just never quite managed to get grand final. It's nice to finally get it, yeah.
The competition saw the McElray twins put through a range of tasks, including essays, quizzes, as well as practical farming challenges. The 18-year-olds admit they weren't able to give the competition 100% of their focus previously, but decided to prioritise it this year as their last chance at the junior title.
I know the past years I probably hadn't put that much study in just because I've been so busy with sport and everything, so I was kind of like, I'll just do it for fun. Whereas this year, I mean, I know, I just kind of wanted to actually give it a good crack and put my best foot forward.
The siblings were proud to secure the junior rural title, which is a good send-off as they prepare to head off to university next year. In Milton, the South Today.
Well, a centuries-old tradition has made its way to Queenstown, lighting up the wintry night sky last weekend. Coronet Peak hosted New Zealand's first ever torchlight descent, which saw riders of all levels making their way down the mountain with just a fiery torch in hand to light the way.
A glowing snake comes down the mountain as the inaugural torchlight descent lights up Coronet Peak on Saturday evening. The fiery event was organised by the Queenstown Alpine Ski Team, and avid skiers and snowboarders take to the slopes, lighting their path with only a wax torch or a glow stick. The event catered to all skill levels with 2 time slots, with beginner riders taking the Meadows Express at 5:30 p.m. and more experienced riders heading down the Pro-Am track at 8 p.m. The descent is based on the centuries-old tradition held in small ski towns across Europe.
In Europe, most of the small ski villages each year they'll run a big torchlight descent. They've kind of done it for hundreds of years. It's never really been done in New Zealand, and it's just a really cool opportunity for the public to be skiing down with fire in the dark.
And those at the base didn't miss out on any of the fun, with music, bonfires and a choreographed descent featuring around 100 members of the Alpine Ski Team. McLeod says they hope to raise $10,000 from the event to give back to the community, with the money helping fund ski passes and snow gear for local primary school children.
What we're doing is looking to raise money for both the team and for local primary schools to help kids basically go skiing as part of their school skiing.
The torch descent caps off Coronet Peak's first week of night skiing, but the Alpine Ski Team is optimistic Saturday night's descent will just be the start of a new regular activity in the region. In Queenstown, the South Today.
There was something fishy in Gore over the weekend as the iconic brown trout statue played host to a gala day. The event celebrated the anniversary of the Gore Host Lions Club, who've been contributing to the district for 60 years.
Unveiling a brand new sign, telling the story of the icon of this Southland town. Gore's Town Centre hosted a gala on Saturday morning, marking the Gore Host Lions Club's 60th anniversary. The event included unveiling a new sign, showcasing the significance of the brown trout to the district.
Today is a celebration of the Lions' 60th charter anniversary, and also we've incorporated it with raising money for the St John's Shuttle.
The celebration was held alongside the iconic Gore trout statue, one of the Lion Club's proudest local achievements.
The Gore Host Lions have contributed significantly to this community and also this district, with the beautiful trout in the background being my personal favourite.
The event was attended by many members of the community and featured displays from the Fire Brigade, St John and country music performers. In Gore, the South Today.
And that wraps up this edition of Southern Newsweek. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube and the South Today NZ on Facebook to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again next week. Mā te wā.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.